Welcome to Who Drives Your Decisions, a short intro to core archetypes. This is Wendy Reese with Whole Being Inc. Do you ever feel like your thoughts aren't your own? Why you think what you think, feel what you feel, and do what you do? It's all about our core archetypes. Welcome to Who Drives Your Decisions, a short intro to core archetypes. This is Wendy Reese with Whole Being Inc. Do you ever feel like your thoughts aren't your own? Do you ever find yourself wondering why you think what you think, feel what you feel, and do what you do? I know I have. And it wasn't until I was introduced to the archetypes, this is work that was done by Carl Jung, that I started to understand that there was something inside of me that was driving the experiences that I had. And once I got in touch with them, once I started to develop a relationship with them, I realized that I had more co-creativity available to me than ever before. And so all of the stuff that you hear about manifestation never really worked for me until I learned this process of really getting to the core and the roots of who I play with that are a part of me. So what is an archetype? The full definition of an archetype from Merriam-Webster Dictionary is that the original pattern or model of which all things of the same type are representations or copies. In other words, a prototype or a perfect example. It can also be an idea. And the third is an inherited idea or mode of thought in the psychology of C.G. Jung that is derived from the experience of the race and is present in unconscious of the individual. These are like our models that we follow. Everybody has four core archetypes: the child, the victim, the saboteur, and the prostitute. These core archetypes determine how we choose to survive, stay safe. Welcome to Who Drives Your Decisions, a short intro to core archetypes. This is Wendy Reese with Whole Being Inc. Ever feel like your thoughts aren't your own? Do you find yourself wondering why you think what you think, feel what you feel, and do what you do? I know I did. Up until I realized that there were different aspects of my personality that I tended to play with a whole lot. And what I started to realize were that there were archetypes within me that played a huge role in how I showed up in the world and how I viewed the world viewing me. So what is an archetype? Merriam-Webster defines it as the original pattern or model of which all things of the same type are representations or copies. It can be an idea, and it can be an inherited idea or mode of thought in the psychology of Jung that is derived from the experience of the race and is present in the unconscious of the individual. And that's the one that we're working with the most here. Everybody has four core archetypes: the child, the victim, the saboteur, and the prostitute. We all have them, and that prostitute is not necessarily a sexual connotation. It can be, but it's more of the exchange of resources for survival and for thriving. These core archetypes determine how we choose to survive, stay separated from source, return to source, relate to the material world, respond to authority, make choices, and how we show up in relationships, even the most important relationship, the one with yourself. The archetypes are actually energetically neutral. We give them their meaning and energetic charge, whether that is positive or negative. There are 12 total archetypes, so even though we all share the same four, we each have 8 unique ones to us. So why do they matter? Well, they can play in the shadow. There are light and shadow aspects to each archetype. And I say they play in the shadows or the light. Let's talk a little bit about the shadows first and why they matter, because they aren't bad, although most people place that judgment on them. The shadow aspect is the separation from consciousness. The shadow aspects are all of the ways that you play small in order to survive, be loved, feel accepted, or safe. Ironically, your shadows are fed by a paradoxical relationship to power. You use them to get something you need, even when that doesn't seem apparent. In other words, there's a payoff for everything you do, even when it seems like you're not getting anything out of it. You are. The shadow aspects come into play when you avoid feelings, repressing them for fear of consequences. For example, when someone oversteps a boundary and you feel anger, but you repress the anger for fear of being abandoned, judged, criticized, hurt, or punished. We are forced into the shadows when we choose to be ignorant of acting from fear. There's a lot of ways that we play in the shadows, and our archetypes go there to really get our attention. Whereas the light, it's all about being balanced, flexible, strong, joyous. It's the ability to weather the storm without taking everything so personally. Healthy boundaries exist when the archetypes are in the light. The light is reflective of our inherent nature. So that's really the core of these archetypes. If you're ready to go deeper, I'm getting ready to offer a class that's 8 weeks long, and it goes into using these archetypes as your personal roadmap. It's a real soul journey to figure out those questions of, who am I? Why am I here? What am I doing? Why do I do the things that I do? Why do I get stuck in the patterns that I get stuck with? And how do I shift? You can check it out by going to www.wholebeinginc.com/you. Thank you for joining me. Infinite love and gratitude. Till next time, be whole.